Welcome, everyone. My name is Gordon Berridge. I'm the Senior Associate Director here at Bentley University. Very excited to welcome you all to this evening's session, or this morning's session, depending on where you are in the world, on how Bentley supports working professionals and accelerating their career growth. Very excited to have a great panel today, but to get us started today, I'm very excited to introduce the Vice President for Strategy and Innovation, Dr. Sean Ferguson, who will be moderating today's panel. So Sean, sir, I'll turn it over to you.
Thanks a ton, Gordon. Greetings, everyone. Greetings from Singapore. I'm on a trip right now where we're doing this AI and emerging markets course, and we're going through different countries in the region to evaluate various use cases for AI. In Singapore, we're looking at the funding environment and more big companies. In Vietnam, we're looking at different applications in health and policy for a larger company. Then in Malaysia and Kuala Lumpur, we've looked at a lot of different elements of this in the banking and reaching out to the kind of emerging mom and pop firms using technology. So it's been a great trip, and I think it's really representative of the kind of innovation and things that are going on here at Bentley University. And today we've got two panelists who are going to talk about accelerating your career growth. And if we go to the next slide, Gordon, we've got Andrew Kenyon, a graduate of our Masters of Accounting program, who works as a senior manager in business operations at Cross Country Consulting. And then we also have Faith Beatty, director of our Graduate and Alumni Career Center today. And we're going to have a moderated panel, and we'll turn it over to folks in the audience to talk about this and get some insights on how to facilitate career success and that kind of thing. So with that, I'd like for Andrew to maybe kind of introduce himself, talk about his career journey, where he's from, and that kind of thing, and how he got to where he's at today. And then we'll have Faith after that talk about the career office, how we're set up, and kind of her role in the process as well.
Yeah, happy to do it. Thank you, Sean. Appreciate the introduction. And can everyone hear me all right?
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. Okay. So Andrew Kenyon, MSA 2010 is correct. I actually was an undergraduate at Bentley University, or Bentley College, I should say, for most of that prior. So I studied corporate finance and accounting in my undergraduate program, and then did the MSA through Bentley back when there was a 5-year program where we did summer education. So I did my 4 years of undergraduate in just about 3.5, and then took the second half of my senior year to start getting a little bit of that MSA content. And then the summer right after my senior year, started in full the MSA program, worked for about a year at the Big Four, and then came in and finished the next summer to continue my MSA program and wrapped it up then. So I guess to take a quick step back in terms of my background and journey, I found Bentley. I grew up in Connecticut. I found Bentley mostly because I had no direction and I really loved the campus. And I got very lucky that I really enjoyed what I ended up finding in the university. Met lifelong friends, met my wife, and found a really wonderful career as well through Bentley. And hopefully that'll be a theme through some of the answers that I give here in the panel. Is I feel like the network and the people and the connections that I made really have made the biggest impact on my career and my journey. Maybe even more so than the content that I may have learned in the classrooms. I kind of did a traditional accounting process where I got connected with one of the Big Four companies, so PricewaterhouseCoopers, through an internship, and then that led to a full-time job for me at PwC after I graduated. And I would say pretty early on, I realized that I was not an accountant long term. So I think I utilized that network and trying to problem solve through what I had understood about the world and about what PricewaterhouseCoopers and business did to leverage my way into operations. And so in a nutshell, I went from audit for about 3 years to recruitment and had to restart my career at that point. But from really wonderful advice, realized that was the right thing. Became a full life cycle recruiter over time, started to recruit for consulting individuals at Pricewaterhouse. Really enjoyed that world, really enjoyed what the advisory content was at the time. A lot of really, really cool things that really smart people were doing. But I wanted to do that, but I wanted to do that at a place that was growing more, not at a large 50,000 or more person company. So that's when I joined cross country about 6 years ago, did recruitment at first, but then pivoted into business operations at one point. And now that has kind of just continued to grow. And I won't give the full background of my role just now, already a long-winded introduction, but eventually became a business manager, essentially playing chief of staff and advisor to the partnership here at Cross Country Consulting for the Boston office, as well as a few of the service lines that we provide nationwide. So it's been a really, really cool journey, but a lot of those kind of boulders and roadblocks along the way that I think my network and Bentley as being a part of my network has helped me navigate.
All right. That's a great story. Really appreciate that perspective and context. Faith, as career director, can you talk about the career office, how we're set up to support grad students, and the complementary nature of some of our other services for the duration of their career, not just when they're here at Bentley?
Absolutely. So I'm Faith Beatty, Director of Graduate Alumni Career Development. Welcome. We look forward to seeing you if you choose to join Bentley. So I manage a team that supports current graduate students and also all alumni. So any graduate of Bentley University has lifetime career services support from us. So in terms of our graduate programming, we have coaches available to meet with you for a variety of reasons. They could be going over an assessment with you, helping you strategize for your career search, reviewing your resume, practicing mock interview skills, preparing you for an upcoming career fair or networking event, etc. And then we have a number of resources. We use Handshake is our career management platform, and that is the location for making appointments with the coaches, accessing job postings. Employers can find the Bentley students via Handshake once you upload your resume. And then you can also review our resources. And we have a significant number of resources having to do with a resume guide or using AI or LinkedIn, a variety of resources. For international students, we have InterStride as a platform that we use. It's really helpful in identifying companies who are hiring international students based on historic data. Also is really good information regarding visa immigration issues, and it's just an excellent resource, and it has a significant number of webinars throughout the year that students can access. We have a number of other opportunities. We have career leaders and assessment that we strongly recommend all students complete, and then we can meet with you to talk about your motivations, your interests, and see where your potential career path may be. We have Big Interview for you to practice asynchronous interviewing skills. We have VMOC, which is an AI-assisted resume resource. So anyways, I can go on and on. We have a lot of great resources at the bottom line there. But in terms of alumni, we offer a weekly alumni career strategy group, which is a community that gets together virtually to support each other if you're in transition. It's an excellent opportunity to continue the Bentley network. We have career coaching, and we have resources similar to what I mentioned for graduate students available to our alumni. I just would like to say the bottom, kind of my fundamental goal is for our team to support anyone, any graduate student or alumni as they explore their careers, as they need support, as they need guidance. We are not a placement office. We are a support network. And we facilitate introductions for you to the alumni network and to employment opportunities outside the alumni network. And that's a huge component of what we do, and make sure that you are as professionally presented as possible so that you can best represent yourself and Bentley out in the marketplace. Is that pretty much covered, or would you like me to go on, Sean? Oh, you're on muter.
I think we're good there. Thanks a ton, Faith. And so, Andrew, I'm curious. You started out, accounting undergrad, then a master's of accounting, and I think this is a great story for people as they evolve over the course of the career. Then you went from recruiter to business operations. What are kind of the inflection points in your journey that really kind of helped you realize this is where you want to go? And then how does you facilitate that transition?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's hard to know when you're in it, right, Sean? You're kind of feeling like you're making it up, and you're leaning on people to help guide you where you need the guidance. I think for me, the early on inflection point was recognizing that when I started work, it was to find work. It was not a lot of critical thinking involved. It was I need a job. And to be able to take a step back and trust people in the career center, people around me that I knew and that were giving me the guidance to say, hey, if this isn't for you, better to figure it out now than figure it out in 20 years. And so to trust that and take the risk and say, okay, I like business, and I appreciate and enjoyed my accounting and finance background, and would love to use that, but right now maybe I need to do something different and figure out that path. I think that was a huge inflection point for me, and I'm thankful that I was able to kind of take that step with the guidance of those around me. And then from there, it was just kind of finding the path that felt right. Then it was, okay, now I'm in operations. So now recruiting works for now, but what other options are there? What are the other doors? Talking to as many people as I could talk to say, all right, what do you do? Like, what's that job title mean? What are the people that you're working with? What is the long-term goal? It's not CFO anymore. It's not controller anymore. What is it? Is it COO? Is it director of operations? Just kind of re-understanding where my path could take me, and talking to people who have lived that path. I think that was the maturity of advancing in my career that I think I certainly did not go into my career kind of recognizing was important. And then, it's fun to see a decade later it come back around, and now I think I use my CFA degree and my MSA quite often comparatively to the 10 years in recruiting that I spent, where it was mainly just um, somewhat sales, somewhat relationship development, but now being able to, play a role in budgeting and FP&A, and understand the work that we're trying to do, understand the actual consulting solutions and offerings that we have. It's invaluable to have at least had that experience and education behind it. So it's been a fun journey, but you kind of have to just take some leaps of faith along the way.
Well, we've done multiple of these panels for different audiences and such, and this theme has really come through, Ralph. Everyone didn't always stay where they asked and where they started, right? But the foundation that you get at Bentley really positions you to kind of, and prepares you with some foundational knowledge that allows you to change gears, throughout the course of your career. So that's really really great to know. How did the curriculum accommodate your unique needs? Was there what was your kind of favorite class that you really rely on today as a professional?
Yeah. So I was trying to think about this a little bit, and especially kind of the MSA program outside of accounting, because accounting was one, like, it was important to get the hours needed and the knowledge needed to really be able to go and become an auditor. But there was so much more that I was able to learn while I was in that program. One of them being taking some management courses and doing some Harvard Business study case studies and I think some of that was really, really, I still use it to this day. To your point, it's critical thinking. It's, all right, now I've kind of got all of this knowledge. How do I actually apply it? Like what is the real day-to-day thing that I'm gonna have to deal with? Then let me work through that. I think that was really, really cool. I still look back on some of those classes and some of those experiences with friends that I went through in the program, and kind of have those memories. And I think it's really, really valuable. And I think that one of the other things I think it was undergraduate and graduate that Bentley does well is really lean on teaming. I don't think you really appreciate how much all of life is working with other people until you're out in it and you're having to do it. And I think there was a lot of teaming involved in all of my education at Bentley, which at the time maybe I went through begrudgingly, but it probably, to your point, Sean, it built that foundational skill to be able to, you know, have a little bit of EQ, understand where people are coming from, figure out how that dynamic works to collaborate efficiently. So all of that I think was super valuable as I was going through the program and now kind of using that.
Um, where do you see your career kind of going next? Do you see yourself being a chief operating officer or chief admin officer? And tell us a little bit about, cross-country consulting and what you do there.
Yeah, yeah, sure. So, like, to try to be not super long-winded, the role is really playing chief of staff. So it could be anything in any given day, right? I'll walk someone through a very minute technical process to make sure that they're doing something within our platforms to recognize revenue or something like that, all the way through to often sitting with our executive leadership team and our founder to discuss the operations of the business, what we're doing well, what we need to change, riffing to strategize what we should be looking to do and how we can operationalize that. So it's super, super wide ranging, which I really enjoy. It doesn't get old. In fact, it's more often trying to focus long enough to actually be be able to make good change in one area or another. So I really, really enjoy that. And if I'm being completely honest, I'm probably still wrapping my head around the way that I can achieve success in that role in the best way. It started out as just supporting our Boston office, and then I was lucky enough to support a whole area of service offering for our firm, and that continues to expand. Now we have a lot of new technology partnerships, and it's how do we bring those technology partnerships to bear? How do we create integrated solutions so that a business can say, I have that challenge and we can go help them solve it from an advisory standpoint, but also offer technology solutions that might, be really beneficial to their growth or their challenges. And so I'm still kind of in the phase where I'm learning all the things that I can even say and help our team with. Long term, I'd love to master that and then, you know, to your point, become a leader of people more so, to be able to then re-educate folks and how to do the things that I've learned and learn how to scale a business. It's a pretty large company. It's 1,000 people. And where I started, it was closer to 300. But how do you take a company from 1,000 to 10,000 to 100,000? Like those are challenges that like aren't even on my radar. So that kind of stuff would be really, really cool and energizing as well. And maybe that's where the next phase goes.
So, one of the things we hit on in some of our earlier panels is about smaller companies versus like big companies like PwC. And how do you kind of see yourself, now that you've worked in both types, where do you feel like professionally you want to continue your career in this scale of company where you can do the scaling from 1,000 to 5,000, or do you miss being a part of like a bigger, more structured kind of machine? And when did you come to that point where you realize, where you fit best?
Yeah, yeah, it's a good question. I mean, I think I I loved and appreciated the foundational experience that I got at Price Waterhouse. I think being able to step into an organization that was a well-oiled machine that had a ton of resources for training and development, that had a network like Bentley's, where like I feel like I've got a brand behind me, and I just walking in the door feel supported. That was really, really great. But I will say it limits your impact to a certain extent. You know, I was in a finite role because of just the nature and sheer size of the organization. And so my make a bigger impact. I don't, that could be unique to me compared to other individuals, but for me, I wanted to be able to change. I wanted to be able to succeed, but also fail on my own, right? I wanted that kind of flexibility of career. And so I think, yeah, pretty early on, probably even as early as 5 or 10 years into my career, I realized I think I want to be at least mid-sized, if not smaller organizations where I can do that, where I can kind of do a little bit more and have the flexibility to have a seat at the table and make change and grow something.
Fantastic, fantastic. Faith, what are the things that, you've seen the most from our, working professional students in the program, as far as how they need to be supported, and what's kind of the most common thing that you all support folks with or help them overcome career-wise?
Before I answer that, can I just say regarding what Andrew just said, it just makes so much sense why you love Bentley, because I just hear it in the teamwork, the tight community. I think that's a really big part of the experience here. And I think you're just kind of what you like in your business. I think you may have not realized it when you were at Bentley, but I certainly think that was part of who you are. So I
Yeah,
think it's fascinating.
absolutely. And we've
Yeah.
got a handful of alumni probably that feel the same as me that are on the team. So I like the way that you frame that bit.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And the last time I saw you, Andrew, you are a great alumni committed to Bentley. You were at a MBA panel, and it was with Dan Lacrosse, who you were like, oh, this is great. We know each other. It was just a really nice opportunity to see alumni enjoying seeing each other. So anyways, regarding what we see, I think one of the biggest things we see coming in, particularly if they're working professionals, are they feel like they may be professionally presenting themselves well, but they might not realize that they need additional assistance. So a good example is your LinkedIn About section. If you're coming back to grad school, you have a story to tell, and you have to story to tell why you're doing that. And so it's important to think about how you're presenting your story. And so we work with students quite a bit on developing their brand, developing their story, developing their pitch. And that is really a useful skill that you can use when you're talking, to a potential employer, to an alum, but anyone throughout your life. And it's just a skill set that we feel really strongly that everyone should have when they're after they're exiting, when they're exiting with their degree. And so I'm assuming, Andrew, that you feel that you have used that skill like fairly consistently throughout, in order to shift as you have. I think another really big important thing that people are looking for are our community. And I think that's one of the things that we know our students. I know a graduate who's buying his condo this week, and he graduated last year. We got a Christmas card from someone who just had a baby. We're just more connected, I think, than a typical career services office. And I think once you know someone, I think that you have them in mind. And I was talking to one of our alum today who is at SAP, is a principal at SAP. And I said, I'm going to do this evening. Do you have any words you'd like to share? And he said, one of the biggest, and I'm going to read it because I thought it was great. He said, everyone can learn how to do Excel, but Bentley has a wide alumni network, and career services remembers you even after you graduate. And I just thought that was a really great thing to say, because we're still here for people at any point in time.
Fantastic, fantastic. And Faith, talk about like the market for working professionals. as alums or while you're in the program. You know, our part-time programs, we're usually having people within 5 years of experience. Our alums like Andrew, who are, you know, what you're about 15 years out now or 12 years out, Andrew?
Yeah, I guess it's 15. It's like 15. Yeah, it's probably oh, 09, so 15. I guess I gotta stand up to that now.
Talk about the interest that our employer community has in this profile of mature working professionals, Faith.
Well, the mature working professional can come in and hit the ground running, right? So you're coming back and you're getting a skill set that's very current. And that's one advantage of coming to Bentley, because we are on the smaller side. I think we're much more nimble and much more attuned to what's happening in the marketplace. So I do think students come out with very current and relevant skills. And I think that because if a person is coming out with some experience, I think they just differentiate themselves. And I'm going to give you a couple of examples of transferability of skills. So I was talking to an alum who was a human factors and design student, and he graduated in May 2024. He was already working at a company, so he got a promotion with his when he graduated. But pre coming to Bentley, he was a ancient history lecturer in Oxford and then at Harvard. And so I just think it was really cool to see this complete shift that happened in his life, when he came over to Bentley and he launched. And I think that we worked really well in terms of transferability of skills in order to position him for really the next stage. Another example is a full-time MBA, MBSA student who graduated last year. He'd been in the Indian Army I think almost 10 years. He'd worked in operations and technology. He'd worked a couple of years at the UN, and now he's working at SAP in their value advisory. And his leadership, his tactical kind of strategic skills were so incredibly helpful to him in the transferability of that to his new role. So I think it's just the transferability of skills, I guess, if you want me to be short-winded. Sorry.
Outstanding. Thanks very much for that. We have a question in the chat, and I think this will probably go to Andrew, as Faith has not taken any classes at Bentley. So the question is, what was the hardest thing you did or class you took at Bentley, and how did you get through it?
Yeah, I saw the question pop up and I thought, should I just answer with taking an 8:30 a.m. class on a Friday during undergrad? That was probably the hardest thing I had to do. Uh, no, jokes aside, so I was very lucky. I was able to do it was kind of in the midst of my transition from undergraduate to graduate. My second semester, in my senior year, I did my thesis. I was part of the honors program, and so I had to do a thesis. And as a part of that, you have a faculty sponsor, and it was kind of a blank slate. I had to come up with what I wanted to do, and that was probably one of the first times in my life that there wasn't a lot of direction. It was try to pick something that's important to you and go figure out how to make something new, put a new piece of content into the world. And for me, that was eye-opening how difficult that could be. And so I think that was probably one of the most challenging things that I did when I was at Bentley. The way I got through it was a lot of time and iteration and mistakes, leaning on that faculty sponsor that I had, leaning on a lot of my friends. So the Bentley community. In the briefest of nutshells, my thesis involved tying a person's personality to their music preferences and if there was a correlation there. And so I had to talk to a lot of people and kind of forcing myself to be engaging in that way. It couldn't just be my closest friends. I had to kind of talk to my acquaintances, talk to people that I didn't know, collect a lot of data, use the skills I had. And so I think just being pushed outside of my box in that way was really challenging. And then just trusting in the network, trusting in, again, that leap of faith of, this is the guidance I'm getting to go and do these things, and I can go do it, and just trying, making mistakes and figuring it out along the way. I think that was really, really helpful, both for me to get through that experience, but also then to have that as a part of my character, kind of entering the working world and having to work through problems where I didn't know what I was doing when I walked into, the door of many of the roles and challenges that I faced over the course of my career too. So, yeah, hopefully that was helpful.
Fantastic. Well, we really appreciate the perspective that you all have provided. This has been super insightful. We'll go to a slide that I just want to share about the opportunity here, and so yeah. So, one of the things that we want to talk about is, the Boston hiring environment is really favorable, particularly for working professionals. It's a highly diversified economy. And so if you feel like you're stuck in your career, this is a great school and institution for you. We have strength in the financial services industry. Bentley's reputation has been built on finance and accounting. But we also, as I mentioned earlier, we're doing a lot of things at the intersection of technology and business and the application of that technology. We also have a Center for Health and Business, and our faculty do a range of research on the business side of health. So, we have strength in the health and life sciences sectors. And what we find is, too, as Faith was discussing earlier, our employers can't get enough of working professionals. One of the things that working professionals provide our employers is more immediate access to opportunity. So if you're in the, part-time MBA program, or you're going to, the school part-time, instead of waiting till graduation, in a lot of cases, you can start and transition pretty quickly. We have people on this call who might be coming from other parts of the country. I know there's been a little bit of a war on remote work, but I think some of the most progressive companies on remote work may be in the Boston area, so that's something to think about. And Andrew, I'll come back to you on the remote work thing, since you're in kind of the HR circles as well, and how your company's thinking about it. Fifth highest GMP per capita, consistent growth rates here. But also, one of the things that stands out for Boston is top 3 in the U.S. in venture investment. So there are a lot of small upcoming companies, and Bentley has built its reputation on working with the PwCs, the Deloittes, et cetera. But there are these range of companies now that are looking to figure out, how do you get from your 50-person stage to your 5,000-person stage? And the fundamentals that we provide in our programs really positions Bentley people better to work in this innovation and entrepreneurship ecosystem. And so there are a lot of schools out there that have a very founder-centric view of entrepreneurship. But what we think is there's this innovation and entrepreneurship ecosystem where you don't have to necessarily be the founder, but maybe you're the Sheryl Sandberg who helps scale the organization or transform the organization and professionalize the organization, right? And so there's that opportunity that we think is really well suited for our graduates. If you think about the regional growth areas, business statistics, human computer interaction, information technology, market research, financial analytics, we have tracks or streams in all of our various programs that address these different regional trends. And so if you're interested in Bentley, the kind of hiring environment and diverse economy of Boston really positions you well for a different opportunity set. Beyond that, we have relationships, our alums are across the United States, and so we can even support, support career journeys to other parts of the United States. And one of the things Faith and I are working on is even the opportunity to potentially help people in globally oriented roles. So we're just posting a position that, has global careers at the center of it, right? So we want to, we've built this reputation as an institution on career services, but we're never, resting on our laurels here. And so, Andrew, I'd like to just hit on one, talk about the remote work thing and some trends that you're seeing. You're kind of in your operations role. It seems like you're at the center of a lot of hiring, and and staff planning and that kind
Yeah.
of thing. And so, what are some trends that you see going on?
Yeah, absolutely. You're right. I mean, they're definitely. I like the war on remote work comment. I think it took longer than maybe we expected, but we are starting to see clients that are interested in us being back with them live. And so we have to navigate that new land of, what is the client expectation? What is a benefit and a flexibility that we can provide as a firm? What is important? What is measurable? How are we consistent? It is a new landscape, and it's hard to figure out. You're building the plane as you fly it, so to speak. I think where we've landed is trying to stay open-minded and understanding of the fact that we have wildly different generations of workforce that are navigating this together, right? We have executives and leaders who are like, why can't we just go back to pre-COVID? Like that worked. Let's just go do that. I did that for 20 or 30 years. And we have individuals who have literally never worked in an environment that wasn't remote. And you have to appreciate both sides of that and try to find a balance between it. And I think one of the things that we're trying to do, and I think that I've heard that other companies that we work with are trying to do, is incentivize in the right ways the reasons to be connected, right? So it's not just for the free food or for the benefits or whatnot, but trying to educate and help people understand what connectivity means, what overhearing the partner or the individual that's just getting connected to an opportunity can do for your ability to critically think later in your career, to pick up those kind of nuances and the relationships that are driven by being connected. I think leaning into that stuff and then incentivizing it and keeping the expectations consistent is really the best way to find that balance and flexibility. But then to also appreciate that we are in a new world. I think going back 5 days can be, maybe stubborn in terms of trying to find that new balance. And so, we're right now to kind of share what we are doing. We're at probably about a 3 day a week expectation, but it's, for some individuals, that's all at the client. For some, that's all at the office. For some, it's a mixture of both. For some, they're not doing that completely, and other people are in every single day. And just trying to appreciate people and kind of meet them where they are.
Thanks so much. That's great perspective. Want to give you two a chance for any closing remarks regarding career and career management and things that you want our audience to think about and consider as they go into the next phase of their career.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you guys having me. Thanks, Sean, for all the great questions to you and folks that are out there. Yeah, no, not a lot of advice other than to just give yourself grace, keep a lot of humility, and just kind of learn along the way. Lean on the people around you. It's you're gonna make a lot of mistakes as you go, and it's not the end of the world. So kind of keep that. The eagerness for your goals and a willingness to give yourself some grace as you figure things out, and it'll all work out just fine. I have no doubt.
Thank you very much. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Faith. Sorry.
Hi. I just wanted to say, first of all, thank you, Andrew, for being here and also for stating that. I really appreciate giving yourself grace is a good self-care moment. And I think it's very hard when you're in grad school, if you're working or if you're coming back to go to school. I think it's a complicated process, and there's going to be stress involved. So I totally appreciate that. The other side of me says, but while you're doing the academic side, while you're in grad school, don't forget about the career side, because you're gaining skills from the academic side, but you also have to be thinking about how you'll use those in your next step. And it's really, you have a built-in community already. You have it from faculty, from staff, from alumni, from your peers. And I can't emphasize enough that one of the most significant outcomes from a graduate program are the connections that you make. And they are, I mean, Andrew, I'm sure you can attest, they're lifelong connections. And you just don't know when you will be able to assist someone else or they will be able to assist you. And it's just a very generous give and take situation. So, and then I can't leave without saying, I didn't mention we have a number of events that we really emphasize for our graduate students. We have graduate student only career fair. We have combined career fairs. We have career conversations with our alumni. We do a career success summit once a year, which is a real educational opportunity for you to identify where you feel the gaps are, because you are in control of what you need to do in order to advance your career, and you can choose what you would select to go to at that conference. And it all starts with, with just getting in touch with us over here in Grad Career Development.
Well, thanks again, you two, for your time. And I'm going to turn it over to Gordon, and he'll close out the rest of this presentation.
Absolutely. Thank you for the time, Sean. I really appreciate it. And I just want to, just thank Faith for taking time this evening, and Andrew also taking time this evening. I know how busy life is nowadays, and for you to take some time, and especially Andrew, you sharing your advice and your experiences and your background with us. We all really, really appreciate it. And so I'd just like to take a few minutes, hopefully now that we've had some time to hear from Andrew and hear from Faith. Hopefully we're all a little bit excited to learn a little bit more about maybe starting your own Bentley journey, taking that next big leap of faith in your own educational experiences. And so the application process at Bentley University, we've really streamlined it and really made it as an opportunity to really be able to share your best self through the application process. And so first things first, we're going to look at your resume or LinkedIn profile. Resume and LinkedIn profile. We're going to take a look at one recommendation letter. There is an optional second recommendation letter that you could submit as well. We're going to take a look at one required essay. I always tell people, we're a business school. You want to make it succinct and to the point. So it's a minimum of 300 words, but a maximum of 500. There's also an optional essay as well that's going to be a personal statement that you could submit along with that. We also do take a look at the GRE or GMAT. It is optional currently. However, we get a lot of students that say when they should or should not submit a GMAT or GRE test. I usually tell students, if there's a particular part of your application that maybe doesn't feel quite as strong as you'd like it to be, maybe you had a tough semester or something like that, you really want to emphasize, that you've grown since that time. A GMAT or GRE score can be a really great way to help maybe emphasize or strengthen a weakened part of your application. But do please note it is optional. Next, an English language test for those of us who are international, who went to school overseas, who maybe took their degree in a foreign language. If your degree was not taught in English, you will need to submit an English language test. We do accept the IELTS, the TOEFL, or the Duolingo as far as that goes. If you're not quite sure, you can reach out to us. I'm going to put our email address here in a minute. We'd be happy to reach out with you, talk with you about your individual circumstances or case. And then we also do look for your transcript or international transcript of all institutions that you've attended. If you did attend a university outside the United States, you will need to submit an evaluated transcripts. That does allow us the opportunity to take a look at those and look at it from a U.S. educational perspective. So if you went to school in, let's say, Ghana or Nigeria or China, we want to make sure that we're taking a look at those evaluated transcripts as part of your application. And then for the MBA programs, there is an interview process as part of it as well. For the other programs, it's optional. If it's something that you would like to do, we'd be more than happy to take a look at that also. So with that being said, maybe you're not quite sure if you're ready for an MBA, or maybe you're not quite sure if you're ready for something else. I do want to really emphasize we do have this great opportunity at this mini MBA certificate program that we're offering. It's a great way to kind of dip your toe into the MBA world a little bit. It's a great opportunity to come in and try out the program. But I will say it's a great opportunity also to develop those knowledge and skills in a short time period, going over some of the really key business elements. It's a very interactive. You heard Andrew talk about it. You heard Faith talk about it. Even though these are certificate programs, it is a great way to be and have that interaction and connection during that time frame, because that is a critical and key part to what we teach here at Bentley. And then even taking that a step further, if you are ready for an MBA, here at Bentley, we've been teaching MBA programs for over 40 years. And so we are always looking to innovate, and we're always looking to offer and look for opportunities to offer new and innovative ideas when it comes to our MBA program. And so we're just launching our brand new professional MBA program. This is geared towards professionals with more than 5 years of professional work experience. This is a cohort-based program that really brings together a theme of technology and sustainable practices woven throughout the entire program. It takes about 2 years to complete, but this is a cohort-based program. Again, bringing it all back to that interaction, that connectivity, really developing that network of key professionals that you'll be able to utilize through your time here at Bentley. And then we also have our Masters in Accounting programs. We have our Masters in Finance programs, our other MBA experiences that you can check out. And so if you're really interested in learning a little bit more, we have some great QR codes here where you can set up a time to learn a little bit more about our executive or professional education courses. You can talk with one of our current student ambassadors. Maybe you want to hear about somebody who's going through the program right now. You can set up a time to speak with myself or one of my colleagues, and we can go through the application process with you or just talk about it, or you can follow us there on social media as well. So with that being said, I'm going to wrap this up, and just I once again really want to say thank you to Andrew for taking the time to come here today and share about your Bentley experience, to Faith, and then for Dr. Ferguson here, for Sean, who it's very early in the morning overseas and he's here spending time with us. So thank you again. And once again, thank you all for joining us. We're really excited for you to take time with us today, and we look forward to being able to connect with you in person over a Zoom call, over a phone call, or maybe here at our beautiful Bentley campus. So with that being said, thank you all. Enjoy your evening, enjoy your morning, enjoy your afternoon, and we look forward to connecting with you all again real soon. Take care, everyone.
Thanks,
Bye.
everyone.
Thank you.